Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to the Stourbridge Policing and Community Together meeting, and thank you to Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council for allowing us to use the facilities at Dudley Library again. Tonight, obviously, we're online, and hopefully people have been able to log on and watch the watch us live. And I'd encourage you to ask any questions you may have from home. Using the hashtag on Twitter of Ask Stourbridge. I'm joined tonight by PC John Edwards. He's going to be off the camera tonight, but he's going to be looking after the Twitter feed. So if everybody looks at him and sees him playing with his phone, he hasn't got Minecraft on there or anything like that. He is actually using Twitter to see if any questions are going to come in from the general public. Again, this is a public meeting. If there's any sensitive issues around specific individuals or specific addresses, we'd ask that you refrain from identifying those people and speak privately to us afterwards. The meeting is to find out what's going on in Stourbridge, what we've been doing to police the area, what crimes have been impacting upon us, and where our main focus has been recently, and to also get a feel of what the general public of Stourbridge want us to focus on as well. To start off with, we've been focusing very much on retail crime in the last month. We've significantly reduced shop thefts in Stourbridge Town Centre. We've had a lot of support from the traders, utilising the radio link, and we've got now some of the stores using some new technology which is called Face Watch, whereby they can upload their images of people committing offences straight onto a database to get people identified quicker. So that's an experiment that's taking place, again using IT systems to make identifying offenders quicker. We've also had good news in terms of our Community Street Watch and Community Speed Watch. We've encouraged a number of people to join those groups of a wide age group, from, let's say, middle-aged people that would normally engage with the police. We're very pleased to say that we've actually got older teenagers joining us on a street watch program as well, to help patrol our neighbourhoods to make them an even safer place. Crime remains really low again in Stourbridge, Norton, Wollaston and Pedmore and Stourbridge East. We've got no crime trends that we're concerned about, and we're focusing our attentions on the most vulnerable areas and most vulnerable people in the area. We continue to work on domestic abuse. People who've been subject to domestic abuse, go to visit them, to offer them reassurance, and to signpost them and to make sure they're protected. But overall, the situation has been good. Now, I know that there's some members of the audience here today who are going to tell me otherwise about an area of Norton which is causing some concerns, and I'm keen to hear about that, if you don't mind.
Well, they've just been hanging around. I mean, the play's been on the issue quite a bit.
Yeah.
But this afternoon I was back again. I could hear banging when I was in the shower. Man, it had already been broken twice.
Right.
So I must have bit the panel off. And because the panel was outside when I grabbed.
Right.
But I think there was a chap on walked past with a dog, and I think he found 999.
Yeah.
But this afternoon, when I picked you up from work, they just turned up again, the police, because as I drove down, they was there.
Yeah.
I got into the house, and then next thing I knew, the police car come up. But I think you were dispersed again. It was the same girl that was there when I pulled on the way.
Right.
Because of her distinctive blue, couldn't miss her, tracksuit top on, blonde hair, just vivid.
How often is this going on? Is it every night or?
Well, not every night. It's been quiet, but on
It's
Sunday
very
nights they've been there drinking and smashing the bottles. We've been cleaning them up. About a week ago we've been stopped cleaning them up.
When would it have started again?
It'll be about 3 weeks ago.
About 3 weeks, yeah.
So we're probably talking the end of the school holidays, aren't we? Whereby the start of the school holidays.
Now,
I know it's gone really quiet, hasn't it? We'd had nothing at all.
Okay, well,
and then it is what's name. But when they built that panel up again, I thought I'd bring it to your attention as well, because I think they might get back in again.
Yeah.
And there's still quite a bit of lead.
what we're looking at doing, obviously, there are officers there now, and I don't want to speak at anything that's ongoing live too much as we speak. But over in terms of the alcohol antisocial behaviour that comes with that, we've got some operations planned with trading standards, whereby we're going to do test purchase operations, actually test our traders on who's actually buying alcohol and cigarettes under the age of 18, and take action appropriately if there's breaches found there. So that's
it doesn't really help though if somebody goes in this 18, buys it for them, and then takes it this week, and then they go off over the banks or whatever and drink it.
It doesn't, but that 18-year-old, if they are found to be passing that on, they actually commit the same offence as the off licence. So it's a specific offence of an 18-year-old supplying alcohol to somebody under the age of 18. So the legislation is there. So that's something that we have been doing our patrols with. Last night was A-level results night from the colleges, and we focus a lot of attention early doors on the public houses in Stourbridge Town Centre, Norton, Pedmore, Wollaston. We did a number of walkthroughs, and on the whole, majority of people were on the very good, well behaved, and they were credit to their generation really. And I think we don't give young people the credit they deserve. No.
They broke up for the exams. I was in the town that time, just before the last meeting.
Yeah.
And they were all in fancy dress.
They were all in fancy dress. I mean, they was just enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
No trouble at all.
No, and again, we didn't have any major issues last night at all with a large number of people out drinking on the town centre. So it's almost a pleasure to go around interacting with everybody. But that's that. In terms of, we'll review the incidents that we've got, and we'll review obviously the crime that's happened today that's been reported that we've got officers at, and we'll look and see what we can do with the local authority, because it's a local authority owned building, to see what they're going to do to protect that location. Unfortunately, with it being a void building, it will become, as you already know, that an attraction for young people to go to. Yeah, it is, unfortunately. But we'll continue to review that and see what measures we can put in place. And again, I'd urge you to report incidents via 101, or if you see break-ins, 999, because that's a crime in progress. But if they are loitering around there, 101, and report the matter to us. Anything on Twitter yet, John?
No.
Okay. How are you both?
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Sorry for the late entrance.
No, that's make sure the mic's working. Obviously, we've just mentioned not identifying individuals or addresses. But is there any concerns from the Wollaston area you need to raise?
I don't think so. One thing that someone's told Mom that there's a fine for still displaying your tax disc. Is that true?
No. It's the tax disc has been abolished. Actually, there's people who've you still have to pay your road vehicle excise license, but in terms of displaying it, no. It used to be an offence to display an out-of-date tax disc, but it's no longer an issue. So that's that. Even our parking issues have been fairly low down. I think that's a good sign that the schools are off, and that our email account has dropped off in respect of parking issues. If people at home are unsure to know what's going on in the local area and want to know about specific crimes that have been taking place, you can use the crime mapping system of police.uk, put your postcode in on it, it'll give you crime mapping information at home so you can see what's actually taking place in your local area. It's with the school holidays, we've been patrolling the Mary Stevens Park because historically we've had issues of antisocial behaviour from young people in the park. We haven't had any issues around there at all. There's still a person who's scattering screws on the car park of Mary Stevens Park. I understand that the council are now installing CCTV, which is going to be monitored. And again, that's very dangerous because if whatever their motivation is for scattering these screws, it could cause a road traffic collision if somebody leaves that and then goes off onto one of the roads out of the park. And somebody has a blowout on a tyre, that could cause some significant injuries.
Yeah,
I picked him up.
you picked
Well,
up.
I thought he was off the workman.
No,
I found some outside the gate.
right.
We've gone for a walk, haven't we?
I've gone to, we was going for a drink at the club.
Yeah.
As I went across there, I saw him on the floor. I always pick them up now.
You pick them,
But I put them down the chain.
put them down the drain.
Make sure they
something.
don't go in anybody's toilet. It's costly as well.
Yeah,
No.
it is costly, but the more important thing is that we don't want anybody to get hurt by
Yeah.
anybody's stupidity. We think it's somebody who's actually just got a grievance with the local authority about the parking of vehicles on there, because of the centre being used as such. And we'd urge that people to cease that activity, and obviously we'll be looking at utilising that monitored CCTV to identify people responsible so we can bring them to justice if need be. John has been doing some great work in terms of restorative justice, in terms of offenders who've been caught, and whereby we actually make everybody volunteers, that the offender and the person who's been subject to a crime meet, and the person who's been subjected of the crime actually tells them what impact that crime's actually had on them, and it's very impactful. In fact, John had a shoplifter at Wilkinson's. I'll leave you to tell them about it, John. It's
Yeah, okay. First time shoplifter, she'd stolen £48 worth of stuff, purely because times were hard and she wasn't managing her finances very well. She decided to go into Wilkinson's, and I think it was desperation, stole an amount of various items from Wilkinson's. She got caught. I might add that their security at the moment is really good. He's catching most of the people that go shoplifting in there. So there's a message for people out there to say that Stourbridge is becoming a harder target for shoplifters. She was caught. We went in. We dealt with it in the normal way, and it's I would say the normal way by finding out what had happened. As she was a first timer, we went down the route of community resolution, which has been now out there for what's about 12 months, 18 months, even 2 years.
if not longer.
So, yeah, we decided that was the best course of action. We could see that she was quite upset. But the way we're going with these offences now, obviously, we need to send a firm but fair message that we won't tolerate it. So it was not enough just to say sorry to the people that she's hurt. So we did what we call a level 1 RJ conference, where she had to meet with the manager. The manager she explained to the manager what she'd done, which was quite embarrassing for her. Then the manager explained to her how this affected her, the staff and their bonuses and what have you. She got very upset to the point she was almost having an asthma attack, and I had to give her a bit of first aid in that respect. And then during the restorative justice conference, she came up with the idea that she wouldn't be able to pay the money back because she hadn't got any, and that's the reason why she'd stolen in the first place. But she could bake some cakes for them to sell for their charity, and that was the best way she could sort of say sorry. So it wasn't just an apology, an embarrassing face-to-face apology. It was also going that extra mile by her having to do something for the company, because they're also measured on what they do for charities. That's helped their target in that respect. So we went in today just to double check, and she'd done about 3 boxes of cakes for them, which, from what I understand, they've got rid of half of them already. So their charity figures have gone up. So in that respect, that's what we're looking at now. It's slightly different with our more hardened shoplifters, but hopefully she's learned from that lesson and she won't do it again. And it's something that we're going to continue doing. It is, as Andy said, it's very impactful.
And obviously, it's a case by case decision of what action we take. But we are looking to make opportunities where people have offended. There was another example where a shoplifter had been detained at Boots in the town centre. He'd stolen a £10 pair of flight socks. The items have been recovered, undamaged. They could be resold. Again, it was a level 1 RJ conference that was done, and it was agreed that the person would pay for the goods, not receive them, but then it would also make a charity donation for Boots to do. So there is some good out of the low-level offenders being caught, and it saves us being tied up, going to different cell blocks to deal with somebody in custody for a £10 theft or something like that. Not belittling that type of level of offending, because we've had some great results of our key offenders who've received significant sentences for their shop theft. But when it's somebody's first offence, looking at actually making a positive out of a negative, and if a charity can gain from that, then that's brilliant. In terms of some of our significant offenders, we've had some good news that one of our prolific shoplifters that have been causing us harm across the borough, he'd been charged with a number of thefts at Wilkinson's, Waitrose, Wilkinson's in Halezone, Dudley, and Stourbridge, and he received a 40-week sentence, in custodial sentence for shop theft. So the courts are taking shop theft seriously for our prolific offenders, and quite rightly so, because it's not a victimless crime. It actually can drive some of the smaller businesses out of the town. We don't want to see that happen, so we're here to support the business community, and that's why we've been focusing a lot on the total recorded crime that's been taking place in the town centre. And we're pleased to say that we had a week without any reported shop theft, which for a busy town centre of Stourbridge, we're quite proud of. I went on holiday and they had a couple of offences whilst I was off, but they've been spoken to. But on the whole, it's been really, really low crime-wise, and that's only a good thing for Stourbridge. It's.
When you say it's a low crime, because folks are not reporting the crime. Because like I'm seeing in the press at the moment now, like break-ins, police aren't responding, and even to go down and see if they can get any evidence from the break-in. I'm not saying this police force.
No, I think.
It's in the press.
And I think this is the danger of the media again. I think it was Leicestershire ran an experiment where they went to odd numbers.
That was a silly one already.
Yeah.
I didn't really believe that.
But an experiment where they're only sending forensic officers to odd numbered burglary dwelling houses to gain evidence. We've got an operation where the officers go, they attend, they're doing a scene assessment, and they make an informed decision on what evidence they've got in front of them to call out forensic experts. And that's each individual officer's gift to be able to do that. So there's no directives in this force around that. We still continue to attend burglary dwelling houses and investigate them. We get surveys to do as supervisors to dip sample crime reports, and burglary is one of those crime reports that we do dip sample to make sure that we are doing them right, and that we do offer the right support to somebody, because there's nothing worse than for somebody to have their home invaded and property stolen from them, and we understand that. And if there's lessons to be learnt or there's opportunities missed, we want to address that, and that's why, as this force, we do that on a monthly basis. And every supervisor, regardless of their department, will have a dip sample to do. And that's, I suppose, an extra quality check. Obviously, all crime reports get reviewed by the officer's own supervisor. but it's just an added check and a fresh pair of eyes that can look at something as well. And we will actually engage with the person who's been subject to the crime to seek their views as well, to see what we could have done better or what went well. And on the whole, the vast majority are really pleased with the officers that turn out, the professional attitude, which is great to hear, because I think there is a lot of good work that goes on there, which is unreported. But bad news always sells, doesn't it? Anything on Twitter?
Nope, not at the moment.
So, we are aware that the schools go back in September and parking issues will raise their heads again. We are working with the fire service in terms of that to go and check access routes, and we've had that done at a number of schools prior to the end of the schools breaking up, and we've had some. The fire service have been able to get through, which is a good measure, really. And if the fire service can get through, they can go anywhere. That means that an ambulance and a police car can get through. So, but we'll monitor the situations and we'll work with schools early in September to address any parking issues that may rear their heads again to nip those in the bud. We're still focusing on the retail crime, and we're still protecting our most vulnerable people in the community. So as soon as any domestic abuse comes through to us, we'll look at putting safeguarding around that individual, putting cocoon watches whereby that's the neighbours to keep an eye on them as well. So if they do see the offender for the domestic abuse contacting or turning up at the address, we encourage that person to call the police so that we can just go and make sure everything's okay. And that's something that we are taking very seriously. We've got the community speed watch group being formed. We're just looking at getting them some training around pro laser and getting some equipment so that they can go actually out and about and be deployed to our speeding hotspots across the areas to reduce casualty accidents. Obviously, it is the summer months and people will be approaching, if they haven't gone already, going on holiday. And we'd ask people to review their security before going on holiday, making sure windows and doors are locked, asking neighbours to go and take the post in for them, leaving radios on, leaving lights on, timers, so that it gives the impression somebody's there, even if they're away. Even encourage neighbours, if they've got a number of cars, to put one of those cars on the neighbour's drive to give that impression that there's people coming and going from that address. We'll continue with that sort of crime prevention advice. Anything else from you, John?
Not that I can think of. We've already covered about, obviously, the street watch side of things. We're always looking to develop new groups. So if there's anybody out there that thinks, "Oh, I wouldn't mind doing that," please give us a call. We can arrange something. Obviously, we've got potentially one good group in the offing there. And obviously, community speed watch, we're always looking to increase those numbers as well. So all I would say is, if you've got issues, please get in touch with us, and then we can discuss those with you.
Is there anything from anybody else? Well, thanks for coming. We'll have a chat with you about that afterwards. And but no, thank you for coming. Check our website. If you go onto the West Midlands Police website, put your postcode in. We'll publish the date of the next meeting because we've just got to confirm that because we've got some other things in the pipelines at the moment, being September, etc. To see when the next meeting will be. But it will be at Stourbridge Library because it gives us that. We've got that infrastructure here in terms of the Wi-Fi to be able to broadcast over the internet. So please go onto the West Midlands Police website, put your postcode in, it'll come through to our neighbourhood team, and we'll advertise the date of the next meeting. So thank you everyone for coming, and again thank you to Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council for allowing us to use the library. Thanks a lot, and good night.